This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
Of course, no matter what the team is, when it comes to NFL players, every single one of them, at the end of the day, they've got one goal, right? Get Super Bowl, get that Super Bowl championship ring. Let's talk about one of the more tragic Super Bowl stories in football history. Hall of Famer Andre Reed is part of an elite group of the Buffalo Bills. They played 4 straight Super Bowls in a row in the 1990s. Lost every single one of those games. 4 straight years, lost every one. We actually had the chance to talk with Andre Reed several years back, and here's a part of that conversation.
As a kid, I always dreamed about playing in the Super Bowl. I think if you talk to any Pop Warner kid, he dreams about playing in the Super Bowl one day. And the spectacle of it 25, 35 years ago, it just keeps growing. It's media driven. So I just remember what I felt like stepping on that field, and you knew that millions of people were watching you around the world. And, that's where I wanted to be. It was a phenomenal feeling, yeah. Besides the winning, we didn't win, but, that's part of losing too.
It's the game, baby. You win some, you lose some, despite the losses. Mm-hmm. No Super Bowl run happens by accident. There are plans in place. If you want to talk about a plan being in place, the NFL's got a plan. And it's actually a really good parallel for the conversation of our retirement planning, Brandon, because if you think about what we do as savers, as hardworking Americans, we work, we save, we invest, we grow.
Yep.
Retirement's kind of like our own personal financial Super Bowl, right? Yet, how many times do you meet with somebody and they are essentially just winging it more than they should when it comes to their retirement plan?
Yeah. It's surprising how often I see that.
Yeah, I bet.
Maybe there's a little bit of thought that has gone into it, but I can tell when someone, when it's just kind of like minimal planning and they've kind of just been doing what they've been told to do up to this point, and now they get here to, on retirement's doorstep, and I'm just so thankful that they've came into the office.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That they come in and sit down with me. So that is at least one good thing. Now, I've also seen, of course, others where great planning. These are the engineers who are listening to the show who, come into the office and they've got their spreadsheets, binders, double set, like everything is thought through. And so I'm going through and trying to find with a fine tooth comb, areas to show them and then show them why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we love our engineers, but yes, so everybody's done some level of planning. And just like you said, the pros, the Seahawks and Patriots and the Bills, yes, they were there 4 years in a row, but at least they're in the Super Bowl. Like that's one thing that he can be proud of and stuff. But so they don't wing it. And then on the opposite end of that, where like at least there's a little bit of planning, like I was talking about, it reminds me of my stepson, James. So I've gone to his flag football games, and even it was so cute. They had, the wristbands on their arm, and they had 6 plays on their, plays A, B, C, D, E, right?
Yeah.
Of what to do, what routes to run, things like that. So the coach can call that. And this is like, he's middle school. Okay. So even middle school flag football, they've got some plays. So at least they've done that kind of work. So you listening, hopefully you've done a little bit of planning here, a little bit of thought process when it comes to your retirement. And so let me tell you about some clients that became clients 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Here, they came into the office. We had 2 different meetings, planning out everything. But at that first meeting, I quickly realized, and they even admitted it. They were like, Brandon, we don't really know where we pull our income from. How do we pull it? I mean, which account? What about some taxes and things? And they really were an open book. Mm-hmm. They were wanting me to come in there and just really help them, hold their hand through this process. So let me tell you some of their particulars. So they are 62 and 60. Okay, he's 62, 2 years older, and they had just retired. And so which I was like, gosh, I cannot believe you retired without a detailed written plan, right? And so, but I think she wanted to really has been encouraging, honey, we've got to get in there. We've got to get this plan in place. I think we've saved enough money, but both of us aren't confident, in where we're going to pull this income from. So they had already retired, but they had saved about $1 million in their brokerage account. Okay. They're after tax. So not their 401k. IRAs. This is in a brokerage after tax. So of course, that means that they didn't save a lot at work. Maybe they didn't have that opportunity, but they've been, earning. In this case, he, made nice income, but he put it in. He kind of was a cabinet maker. I'm talking like a hard worker, right? I mean, I know everybody works hard, but cabinetry, and would just save over the years. And so they had built $1 million.
Nice.
And so, but they had no pension, right?
Right.
Nothing to, as far as income plan,
Yeah.
right? No pension there. They really didn't know what to do for Social Security, right? Only one of them was eligible. And he was like, okay, should I start my Social Security right now? So he wanted clarity on his Social Security plan and when can we start it for her? How can we start it? She didn't work outside of the house very much, right? Over the years. So we talked through all the different filing strategies for Social Security. And so as we were going through everything, then I also uncovered, or they told me about some debt. They still had about $200,000 in consumer debt. Okay. So that led us to the question, okay, well, do we pay that off? We've got this money, this $1 million of after-taxed money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should we pay off this debt? And so we talked through, okay, what kind of interest rates do we have? What are the terms on this debt here? And so we have a plan to systematically get that thing paid off here, right? In a very short amount of time. Okay. And so we made that plan, we made it work, but they had a really nice little caveat. They talked about how their grandfather in a different city, so think about this, their grandfather, right? So a long time ago, made some really nice purchases on land. And so there's now like 18 grandkids in the family, and they're 1/18 of this money that's finally getting sold.
Okay.
They're getting about $1 million here in 6 months.
Okay.
So they were like, Brandon, what do we do with that money?
Yeah.
Just a lot of questions. And that's probably you listening. You probably have a lot of questions. Every situation is different. You might have a pension, some pension decisions, or unique, accounts or Social Security. What do we do? We've already both started this. I mean, are there changes we can make? What are some things? So I know you listening, everybody's got their own specific situation. And so what I want you to hear right now is come on into the office here, sit down and we just talk through. That's what a first appointment looks like when you come into the office, is you're just telling me, the situation that you have at hand, what you've saved, what kind of income do you need, right? And so some of the things that you can be doing ahead of time here is start thinking about, okay, what are my expenses? What do we need each month, right? So if we have a few of these numbers, then that helps me do the best that I can and help show you, okay, how can we take this portfolio and generate enough income there? And so basically what I'm describing right now is our 5 steps to retirement. It's a worksheet, a workbook that we'll kind of work through there, but there's 5 specific steps that we can talk through, we can work through very simply. And it gives you that clear picture of, okay, number one, have we saved enough, right? So if you haven't retired yet and you're listening to this show, how do you know if you've saved enough for retirement, right? I mean, do we need to keep working for 2 more years? Do we need to get to some arbitrary number, or have we already saved enough money that could produce the number you need? Okay. What are our expenses? I would say that's one thing, you listening, that's one thing that you can do now is if you can try to time getting out of debt as much as possible, right? Paying off car notes, credit cards, student loans, any consumer debt, right? If you can pay that stuff off, if you can time that to when you want to retire, that just makes it so much easier. Okay. I don't mind having a house payment, especially if the mortgage is nice and low, right? So just let me add that in there. But once we kind of know those 2 things, then we start looking at, okay, well, what's the best strategies and solutions to provide that income for you, okay, for retirement? And that's what our 5 steps to retirement workbook would look like. And I want to make that available to you right now. We do have 5 spots available in my calendar. We clear out 5 spots, kind of hold those open for radio show listeners. So if you've saved $500,000 or more and want to have this 5 steps to retirement, and I would say it's even beneficial for those that have already retired. Okay. But especially those who have not retired yet. If you're 60 or above and you've saved $500,000, you've got to work through this 5 steps to retirement just to know and give you some really good numbers to really go back and work on. Okay. So 843-890-2400. You can call or text that number. You can text the words 5 steps, and Tanya will know exactly what you're wanting here. 843-890-2400. Pick up the phone and let's get started on your 5 steps to retirement.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.